Hi, welcome to One Cool Thing. This is PC Mag's weekly show where we show you one cool thing that we're testing in the PC Mag labs. I'm Alex Colon, and I'm here with Will Greenwald, who is on site in the PC Mag labs. And this week he reviewed the LG C1. This is LG's newest top-of-the-line OLED TV. It comes in 5 different sizes. We're going to discuss those in a bit. We reviewed the 65-inch version, and that sells for $24.99. Not $24.99 as in $24, but as in $2,500. And we gave this an Editor's Choice Award as well as a Tech X Award. So Will, let's just get into it. Give us a breakdown of the TV in general, and then we'll start to talk about some specifics.
Well, to start, it isn't technically LG's top-of-the-line OLED. Their OLED TVs are their top-of-the-line TVs. It's like the most expensive ones you can get, but there's an entire series of them where there's B1, C1, so it's like a little bit higher than the bottom, then G1, where you can hang it on the wall and it's super thin and just looks like art. And just there are a bunch of different designs of OLED TVs. The thing is, most of them use pretty much the exact same panel, so you're going to get the same features, the same picture quality. It's just you'll be spending more for a sleeker design that's more suited for different environments or different layouts. And at the C1, it just has a standard table stand. You can wall mount it, but it's a pretty standard designed TV. So it's actually in their OLED line, which is top of their line, like above all of their LCD TVs. It's still in their affordable range.
Yeah, so that's a good thing that you mentioned that this isn't quite the top of the line, as I said. The way that I see it, their C line is sort of it's the TV that you're going to come across the most. Like if you're looking in your typical big box electronics store and you're looking for an OLED TV, you will likely see something in the C line. I feel like that G line that you mentioned, the ones that are super flat and hang on the walls, yep. Those I feel like you pretty much tend to need to order those specifically. I've never actually walked into a Best Buy really and saw one hanging.
Generally, yeah, and of course there are like. I don't know if they still have an 8K model, but I believe they do, and that is way, way more expensive. There is the long, almost mythical rollable OLED that LG has shown off the last couple of years, back when there was a CES to go to. But in terms of what you're actually going to find at a store and what is within a reasonable price range, the C1 is where you go. And well, the whole point of getting an OLED is because its picture quality is amazing. It can create perfect blacks because each pixel can produce light like on demand. It doesn't use a backlight behind a LCD panel, which all LCD panels use. So it can get just amazing infinite contrast going on. It doesn't get as bright as LCDs because the LED backlight can just boost the light to get really bright, and OLEDs can't really do that. But this still gets pretty bright, like very bright for an OLED. And its color accuracy, which is the main thing that impressed me, it's fantastic. It can reach spot on for standard dynamic range signals. Rec 709 broadcast standard, basically perfectly out of the box in cinema mode. Put an HDR signal through it, and it reaches nearly perfect DCI-P3 digital cinema standards. In terms of just accuracy in its color, it is fantastic. It's one of the best TVs I've seen so far.
And because of its accuracy, that's actually the main reason that we gave it a Tech X Award, because we haven't tested any other TVs that have actually come as close to perfectly accurate as this one.
Yes, many have. They can reach like further with their color, but it's not as accurate. And especially for the digital cinema color space, nailing the color levels just straight on, setting into cinema mode, not needing to really go through calibration, and just getting these really accurate colors means that when you watch a movie on it, it's going to pretty much be what the filmmaker intended, which is pretty vital if you want to watch movies on your TV, which is one of the points of it.
If you do buy this TV and say you're getting the 65-inch model and you're spending $2,500 on it, then are you saying that you don't then need to pay a professional calibrator to come in and potentially spend, I don't know, another $500 calibrating the TV?
Out of the box, using the numbers that I've seen, as long as you keep it in cinema picture mode, it doesn't really need a calibration. I mean, if you're spending a ton of money on your TV, or if you have just a big complicated home theater, if you dedicate an entire room just to a home theater, you might want to hire a professional just to do everything, including calibration, and wiring and design and all of that, because that's what they do. But just calibrating this TV, if you take it home from the store, it's really not necessary.
Now let's also talk about gaming features, because I feel like high-end TVs, often we don't think of them as gaming TVs, but this one has a lot of gaming specific features that really impressed us.
Yeah, gaming features have become a lot more common on higher end TVs, but it's still very scattershot compared to monitors. Like it used to be things like variable refresh rate and Nvidia G-Sync and AMD FreeSync were all pretty much purely the purview of monitors. Like you could connect them to your computer, it syncs up the frame rate so you don't get choppiness or tearing. Now you can get them on a lot of TVs, and this one has pretty much every gaming feature you can name. It has auto low latency mode, so if you're working with a compatible console or PC, it will automatically switch to the low latency gaming mode, so you get the lowest input lag you can. It has variable refresh rate and NVIDIA GeForce, NVIDIA G-Sync, and AMD FreeSync. So if you connect it to a compatible game console like an Xbox Series X, or to your PC, whether it has a Radeon or GeForce card, you can sync the refresh rate, and that's excellent because then you're going to lose a lot of screen tearing, you're going to have a lot smoother action. And just the input lag is excellent. We measured in gaming mode, I think 4.6 milliseconds, which is very low.
Yeah, so we typically,
yeah.
For input lag, we look for either 20 milliseconds or under for that to be considered one of our best TVs for gaming. So the fact that this is only 4.6 is very impressive.
For TVs, yes. For gaming monitors, you can get we've measured 1.2 to 1.6 milliseconds on the really good models, but you're also going to be spending for a 24-inch TV, maybe $700, $800. So it is it's a very different picture in terms of the screen real estate, the resolution, just like what you're going to get and what you can expect between a TV and a gaming monitor.
Right. And how about this TV's sound quality? Do you need to, when you're buying it, budget a sound bar in with it or some other kind of audio setup, or does it actually sound good on its own?
It sounds surprisingly good on its own because it has a pretty strong, for a TV, sound system. It has a pair of conventional drivers and then a pair of drivers that I believe are built a bit higher, and it has some very good audio processing. So it sounds very loud for a TV. It sounds quite clear. It's good. I believe it is Dolby Atmos compatible audio. Once again, you're dealing with a handful of watts in power output. So switching to a sound bar, especially one with a subwoofer, switching to a full speaker system, that's a huge step above. But this compared to your average TV speaker, it sounds much better.
Right. So one of the things that I really like about it is that between the sound quality and the color, this is the sort of TV where you can take it out of the box and it is good to go. It's going to look fantastic and it's going to sound pretty good for a TV.
Yes, it's really excellent. We can wholeheartedly recommend it. If you have the budget for a TV in this range, you should probably go for it because it has a fantastic picture. It is it's gorgeous. You can see how thin it is, how there's no bezel, there's no edge. It is great for gaming. It's just an excellent TV. Now, of course, not everyone can spend $2,500 on a 65-inch TV. So we do recommend some LED models that cost less than half as much as this, which are still very strong choices. They get much brighter. They have the different feature set, but they don't get quite as dark and their color isn't quite as accurate out of the box. So there are trade-offs. If you want the brightest TV, you can spend less, but if you want just an incredible picture with perfect black levels, spending the extra money for an OLED is the way to go.
Yeah, I will just add a little personal note here. I own an older model of this TV, the LG C9, and it is one of my favorite things, one of my favorite pieces of technology in my house. So I can wholeheartedly agree with Will's recommendation here. And just to give a little rundown of some of the sizes, it does come in 48 inches for $14.99. It's 55 inches for $17.99. There's the 65-inch model that you're looking at that we tested. That's $24.99. There's a 77-inch model for $37.99 and an 83-inch model for $6,000.
And it is important to note that an OLED in that size, 77 and 83 inches, that's rare for, pretty much any OLED manufacturers. I don't believe Sony's A90J I believe it's the A90J, gets that big. And the fact that it's only $6,000 for an 83-inch OLED is pretty incredible when you think that a few years ago, like the first couple OLEDs I tested were 5 digits for like 55 inches.
Yeah. With OLED, definitely the larger you go, the more of a premium you're paying. Although it is interesting that, you know, we could consider $6,000 to be only $6,000 in this category.
Well, if you've seen how OLED prices have gone, that's definitely been the case.
Yeah, so this has been the LG C1. We reviewed the 65-inch model. This is our editor's choice for OLED TVs. It also won a TechX award. If you have any more questions about it, we have a full review online at pcmag.com, and we'll be back again next week with another one cool thing to show you.